Hey everyone, this week and the next week I have been with the Compassionate Entrepreneurs Club. That is a club dedicated to teaching people how to start businesses, specifically in the US, youth, ages 14 to 18, training them in entrepreneurship and business mindsets, and then using those events that they host, whether markets or reaching out to businesses, but creating fundraisers through that, and then bringing the proceeds to centers to cause them to help. And they've helped a lot with leadership and literacy centers here in Uganda. And so they came for a trip, and I've been helping show them around, to be there for them, help drive some of them, so that they can enjoy their experience. I have someone who has spent quite a bit of time here and is familiar with this. So it's been really cool to see them look at it with fresh eyes. It's helped me to see things that I had forgotten were different here, and thereby helping to reopen my mind to possibilities. I spent a lot of time in Kampala and in Gayaaza specifically. And we helped at a literacy center, teaching English and playing simple English games to help people learn more English, as well as just spending time playing sports with them and things such as that, as well as things as playing sports and cooking with them to get familiar with them and just to have them become familiar with people speaking English and learning how to use it, even for basic things. So that was a great experience. We also traveled far distances to visit a game park, and the business there was very interesting. You see, the prices there were at least triple the amount, or triple the cost, for the same amount of the original price. Soda that used to be for 1,000 shillings was for 3,000 shillings. Food was the same way, all of it. We even had to patch a tire, and that normally costs $5,000 for the service, but it was $15,000. Everything done in the game park was 3 times more expensive. Food, water, services. We didn't have to fill it with gas, but we saw at the station that it was also so much more expensive. Overall, it was very interesting to see the economy of the game park and how it was literally 3 times more than the rest of Uganda, simply because the people there, first of all, there's not enough competition. If they're at the game park, they have to order from there or a place near there, which, since there's only just a few, it allows them to keep the prices high. The competition is really low, so that allows them to keep the prices high. Secondly, the people that go there are usually Americans and Europeans, much more than Ugandans. And so one thing that the camp they're at did that was smart business tactic is they had the amount in USD at the bottom. And so they got 3 of these people here on the trip got a meal, and we're like, oh, it's less than this much in USD. For 3 people, for that much of a meal, that's a really good price. And it was, admittedly, still a good price. But compared to Ugandan prices, it was 3 times more. So that just shows you something about the tourist industry in Uganda and how the prices can be exponentially more in ways that are dramatic, and people will still pay for it by and large. Another thing that's happened a lot this week is a lot of car troubles, and we just get it fixed on the side of the road with mechanics, or bring it to a welding shop and then weld the muffler back up, or things such as that. because of the urgency of the situation, and there are mechanics everywhere, but you can't always, but there's no verification process, it's just the local mechanics. There's no, it's not like bringing it to a dealership, it's not like bringing it even to like a garage that has brands. It's just here's a place where they have tools and people work jumpsuits ready to get dirty and fix your car. And sometimes that turns out really well and sometimes it doesn't. And so, though they do have the expensive places, most of them are only in Kampala or in other big towns. And so when an issue arose in the smaller towns, we would find just a gas station, and they usually have a mechanic on hand there. And those ones are usually more reliable than just the ones on the street. But even those cannot entirely be trusted. So it's interesting to see the mechanics market of Uganda, and it's similar, not as exponentially more as the game park, but similar. Prices there were much higher than what could normally be expected in Uganda for things, for parts, for labor, because they knew that the owners of the car really wanted it running again, and that they had the tools to do it. They were able to charge a price that was much higher than most things in Uganda. So it highlights that there is two markets in Uganda. One of them is very cheap. The standard of living is very cheap. The food, the water, even the simple rents for the ones that don't have self-contained bathrooms or wash rooms or toilets. Like, those ones can be very cheap altogether. However, there's another market entirely, and that is the one for those who have money. Cars are the prime example of that, but it also includes appliances such as washing machines are similar price to America plus some, toasters, ovens, like gas stoves. Most people just use charcoal stoves that they heat up and cook their saucepan over that. So gas stoves and ovens, toasters, washing machines, water heaters, AC, like fan units, all of those are not quite, but almost as expensive as in America, but in a place where you're making so much less. And so that's the two markets that are here. It's been interesting this week especially to be dealing with that and to be trying to solve those issues, and finding out how expensive it is compared to the cost of eating or the cost of even eating for a week when compared to the price of fixing a car. This week has been more about exploration on my side than actual business because of my time with this Compassionate Entrepreneur Club, focusing instead on literacy centers there. But I could see the business as we traveled around. Another thing I did this last weekend was I went to a funeral. It was the funeral rites, meaning it was months, almost a year after the burial, but they do a final funeral rites where they nominate a successor. Culturally, they nominate a successor and have a final big huzzah party for the memory of the one who has passed away. And so I went to that because who passed away was my good friend. She ran a little, I call it a hotel, but we would call it a little restaurant. Just a shop, cooking on this charcoal stoves, cooking rice and other starches like posho, matoke, and then things to go on top: beans, chicken, beef, And she just prepared that every day, and I went there almost every day too. And so she lived a very simple life. But when the time came that she was sick, they didn't have the money to give her the proper treatment. So some of them were imagining the situation where if they had more money, they would have been able to prolong her life. Of course, we can't be sure, but the place where she was receiving care was the cheaper, the lower end. And so going into that, I saw also the culture a lot of the way they care for those who have passed on, and all the events that they do and how event planning works. But overall, it was a reminder that in America we go to the hospital a lot less to get a lot higher care than they go here. They get sick more here, so they have to go to the hospital more here, and the care is much lower. And so seeing things like this is a reminder to me of why I'm here searching for these options, searching to start businesses here and provide people with the ability to care for their loved ones in not just now, but in perpetuate throughout them and their children's and their grandchildren's lives. If a successful business can be found and successful entrepreneurships can be started. So this week, a little bit different than other weeks. I have one more week with the Compassionate Entrepreneurs Club, and we will be located here in Jinja, where we arrived actually this morning at 2 a.m. thanks to the car troubles that I was referring to. So it's been a little different. I haven't spent as much time having business conversations or seeing business things because of my traveling to the village for the funeral and my assistance of the Compassionate Entrepreneurs Club. But I have seen many sides of things. I've seen buying in bulk, and I've seen the rich markets. And those together have helped spur me to open my horizons and see new possibilities. So that's it for today. Uplift Uganda. Uplift Uganda is a production of Food for Thought Audio. This episode was written and produced by me, Trevor Dyches, with music and post-production by Kenny Mears. We'd like to thank Compassionate Entrepreneurs Club. You can find them at compassionateentrepreneurs.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, or wherever you listen to podcasts for more content. And until next time, thanks for listening.